on here for Seconds Out with the one and only. Suited and booted Eddie Hearn after Jack Catterall shined in the ring, sending Jorge Linares into retirement, but maybe not shined quite enough, maybe needing to get the stoppage there. How do you assess his performance?
Yeah, I thought it was a brilliant technical performance. I would have liked to have seen him just put his foot on the gas a little bit in the back half of the fight. I mean, he hurt Linares bad in the 6th round, and I think there was an opportunity to get him out of there. But also, Linares is dangerous. You know, he was looking to counter him with a backhand. Jack said he felt that he could whack a bit, and with what's on the horizon, it's all very well us saying, come on, you get beat at that stage, and you're screwed. So, you know, an 8 out of 10 without setting the world alight, but moving on now to what I think he needs, which is big fights.
Talking of big fights, the Josh Taylor fight, it doesn't seem like it's lost much momentum in terms of that rematch. Is that the next fight for him? Do you feel how likely is that to get over the line?
I think so. I mean, when you talk about big fights that can be made now, that's the one. You know, you got Haney Prograis December 9. He's in the hat to fight the winner of that. But if he beats Josh Taylor, he's definitely in the hat for the winner of that fight. So, you know, I think that we should talk to Top Rank and see if there's an opportunity to get that fight made between Josh Taylor and Jack Catterall. There's plenty of bad blood. I love the build-up. We know that all British fights and all British grudge matches work. Let's get it made.
Getting through some of the undercard, first of all, I wanted to shine a light on Turner. It seemed like a little rock star came through from the crowd. Seems like there's a bit to work on. He's got a lot to work on for himself, but could be something there.
Yeah, and people have told me for the last couple of weeks, this kid's got freakish power, you know, and it's unusual to see a super flyweight carry power like that, but he's very exciting. He's a little bit crazy, but obviously he's got massive support as well. And we like to see that from the young prospects. You know, I thought Khalil Majid did really well tonight to force that stoppage. William Crawler, really devastating punch power. Even Muhammad Ali, who didn't stop his opponent, you know, he was always forcing the fight against an undefeated opponent. And I like to see that.
Campbell Hatton, look, he'll always draw some ire from the fans. What did you make of his performance and where he stands in terms of where he is now? Because he's, 14-0, I guess, so maybe a step up is needed. But what do you feel where he's at?
I thought the opponent was a step up, but he didn't really, you know, he was holding for dear life from the 4th round. I thought it was 2-2 after 4 rounds. I don't think it was a good performance from Campbell Hatton, but it's hard to look good against a guy that doesn't want to fight. That being said, at 14-0, there's not really many more places that you can go than having competitive fights. So I think he needs 10 rounds next time. And he's going to have to step up. You know, there's a lot of people calling for Campbell Hatton against Aqib Diaz, whether that's a fight in 1 or 2 fights' time. I think that's the kind of fight we need to build towards. And, you know, you can't worry about getting beat at 15, 16-0 if you're not good enough. Because you're going to have to find out sooner or later. And we can't be guilty of not giving him the opportunities to be ready because he's had 14 fights. But we know he's a novice and we know he's learning. But we're nearly there now. And the next one will be 10 rounds and it'll be a much tougher test.
Do you see him as a potential pay-per-view superstar in the same way that you see Conor Benn? Conor Benn was kind of laughed off in the early days of his career, made the improvement. Campbell's getting the same treatment. If he can go away and improve, do you think he has that potential?
But at 14-0, Conor Benn was looking like a different fighter. You know, when Conor Benn started, he was awful. Like Campbell Hatton arguably looked better than Conor Benn when he started. But I don't feel like Campbell's improvements between the debut and fight 14 can be in any way compared to Conor Benn's improvements. But there's still time, and you don't know when he steps up against people that are coming to fight how he might look. But he's got to improve. He's not showing signs yet that he's going to go on and win British and European and you know, all of a sudden Conor Benn started flicking a switch, you know, and looked much, much better. We're talking probably 3 years ago now. But that switch has got to be flicked by Campbell Hatton. And at the moment, it's not. But we've got to start seeing it because people are going to get impatient and say, he's had 14 fights. You wouldn't give anyone else this opportunity of having 14 fights. Maybe. But he's got the name. That gave him the opportunity. Now it's almost time to sink or swim.
A few final things to run through. I'll try and vary up the questions as well. First of all, Ruiz Jr. told Eli Sekbak that you were traumatised by what happened in the first AJ Ruiz fight, that you wouldn't make the 3rd fight. Is that the case?
He's forgetting about the 2nd fight. I mean, I was traumatised by what happened in the first AJ fight, and then he schooled him over 12 rounds, and it was a complete mismatch, which it should have been in the first fight. But AJ got carried away. He wasn't quite physically right for that fight and got stopped. But Andy Ruiz needs to fight. You know, all these guys, Andy Ruiz, Deontay Wilder, they haven't boxed for over a year or close to. And they've not even got anything scheduled. They're just sitting there waiting for an offer. Like, we want a big fight. But if we can't make one, at least we're fighting. Do you know what I mean? So if I'm Andy Ruiz, you need to get out. Go and have a fight. Bill he's a big name. Get some momentum. But it's weird what's happening in America.
Speaking of American fighters, Teofimo Lopez saying that DAZN has about 5 years tops left in the game. Do they?
5. It's a lot more than some people give them. I mean, how long have DAZN been going now? 5 years? 4 years? When they started, people gave them 6 months. People gave them a year. Now, all of a sudden, they've just done an event last week. They got 1.3 million subscribers added just to last week. They're a huge platform globally for boxing. I think he was also criticising Top Rank and ESPN as well. Teofimo Lopez, he's on another planet. He's a great fighter, but he has absolutely zero idea about the commercial boxing world. So much so that Top Rank can't even get him in the ring. Like, he was supposed to have that Heisman date. You imagine having a sensible conversation about Teofimo Lopez's purse. I mean, he boxed Josh Taylor at the Garden. They didn't even sell it out in the small room. We only just sold out Teofimo against Cambosis for the undisputed championship. But he thinks he's worth 10 million a fight. This is one of the problems with boxing.
Get your thoughts on you be someone who knows a lot about this, being a promoter who sells pay-per-views. Dana White thinks that his UFC 294 that featured Usman and Makhachev, Volkanovski will sell more than Fury and Ngannou. Do you agree?
Yes. Yeah. I don't think Fury and Ngannou is a massive pay-per-view. I think in the UK, I think it'll do. It's going to be a great promotion. I mean, this week's going to be incredible, like the money they're putting behind it. I don't think it does huge numbers in the US. But I don't know. It's a big event. I think it will do big numbers, but I don't really follow the MMA stuff. But by all accounts, from the response I've seen from that card, very solid numbers.
What's your actual assessment as to what happens in the ring next week between Fury and Ngannou?
It's a total mismatch. I mean, can we just have the opportunity to say it's a 34 fight, 33 and 1 draw, heavyweight world champion, #1 in the world, against a man that has never put on a pair of boxing gloves in a professional ring. And the British Boxing Board of Control are sanctioning that fight between 2 non-British boxing license holders in Saudi Arabia. The whole thing's a money grab. It's great entertainment. It's a total mismatch, but it's going to be a great event. So good luck to him. But it is what it is.
Finally, Eddie, I appreciate your time, and you've received some appreciation from the WBA. Steve's kind of stole my light a little bit here. WBO, sorry. I see you suited and booted. Maybe you're going to collect your special recognition for, was it Next Generation Promoter?
Global Promoter of the Year for the Next Gen. Which, if I do a Next Gen show, and we have a fighter that's over the age of 29, Twitter sphere says, why is he on Next Gen? I'm 44 and I've just won Next Gen Global Promoter of the Year. Buzzing.
Appreciate it, Eddie.
Cheers, mate.